So that brings us to the next speaker. Yeah, while you set it up, I'll just do the introductions. Yeah. We have next speaker, Sarath Dara, with his supported by his team, Mohan, Ranjan, and Anupama, for us to walk us through the cloud native DevOps and intellect SEEC. Am I saying that right? Okay. Yeah. About Sarath. Sarath is a seasoned leader in cloud and DevOps with close to 20 years of experience in the IT industry. Key expertise in setting up cloud native center of excellence with specialization in microservices, continuous delivery, and DevSecOps. He is also a member of Cloud Native Computing Foundation and leads the DevOps to NodeOps community in Hyderabad. I think we need worldwide, not just in Hyderabad. And is a certified AWS and Azure solution architect. Welcome, Sarath. A big round of applause for Sarath, please. You need this?
Hello, 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 hello.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me there? Yeah? Okay. So we'll just talk about what Intellect is and why we are in purple. So Intellect is a fintech company. We are a product division which has been spun out of Polaris around 4 years back. And any reason why we are in purple? Any guesses? What does purple signify? Anyone? Purple signifies us both technology as well as innovation. So that's a continuous movement of you from your current state to the future state, which is called the fluid state. So you continuously move from one place to the other place, continuously learning and innovating yourself. Okay. So that's what purple means, and all of our organization has one of the key things what we have discussed is it's a cultural change which needs to happen. I think organization starts taking this purple, and it actually what happens. This is what how you brainware the entire team across in your organization, right? You tell them this is what you're going through. This is going to be continuous process which will keep moving. So to start with, I think we got what we're going to cover is cloud native DevOps. But before we start, we got some goodies, small goodies. So we're going to distribute a quick questionnaire for you for the next where you can submit that. I mean, guys, can give those papers? Yeah. Already submitted? Okay. If you, we'll just give you next 3 to 4 minutes to complete that, and whoever has got the top 20 will be giving you the goodies for that one. Has everyone got those questionnaire? Here, again. So while you're writing, I think some of the background is that if you see last year we've been sitting on the other side. This year we came this year because we learned something from this community and we started implementing. So it's our job now to go back and give it to the community. So that's one of the key reasons why we wanted to showcase what our journey is, what are the different phases we've gone through to the cloud native. Just give 2 more minutes, guys. I think Ranjan, you can go there and collect it if someone has completed. Last 1 minute to go. Yeah, please write your name so that we know who is the person who has got that. Okay, are all done? Anyone still doing? Okay, I'll get started then. I think so. One of the key things is that, I mean, if you see from morning, you must have attended multiple sessions. Is that what is that you need to do to move fast, right? I mean, why do you do DevOps? One is efficiency, the way you wanted to move faster into the market, the way you want to get more revenue to the market and get your products faster into the production, right? So as we say, automation is going to be one of the key part, but what is the object of automation? What is that you would achieve out of automation? So one of the key things is that if you perform a task once, it should never be done repeated. Okay, so it's like you should not have done it twice. So once you have that mantra embedded into each of the developer, infra guys, security guys, and everything, I think that's where you will start seeing the change. So, and this doesn't happen in day one or day two, right? I think you actually need to tell this again and again to multiple, from leadership to business analysts to coming from a product company. What we have is we've got a huge number of business analysts. So we tell business analysts also to automate their task, the way they take the requirements from the customers. We ask them to automate that. We tell the security guys that once you have done a scan, that should never be done again manually. There's no Jira ticket which needs to be opened. So I think those are things. Each level, once you start taking this very seriously, I think that's where you'll start seeing the change. So I think quick agenda, I'll skip this. These are some of the reasons why we kept cloud ready and cloud native. If 2 years back, you were actually saying that, I mean, you're going to go into DevOps, there's a separate set of rules that you would follow. Today, if you want to go into DevOps, you need to significantly change your strategy because cloud ready is no more an option. Half of the market is already there in cloud, right? So what you need to do is that you need to start looking at different principles which are from cloud native coming, let's say it could be containerization microservices, or it could be continuous deployment or self-healing, or fail safe and having the recovery plan in place, or it could be a simple thing like high availability. While it's very small thing in a cloud, what happens in cloud ready is that you will not have high availability by default. You actually do a lift and shift. You actually will have multiple stacks available in different regions. You do a data replication between those two regions and all of that, right? That's a significant mammoth thing when you do a lift and shift when you're cloud ready. But in cloud native, that comes inbuilt of the sort. So if you're in that journey of going into DevOps, DevSecOps, or whatever MLOps and everything, start keeping cloud native in your mind because that gives you the flexibility, that gives you the roadmap that you don't need to re-engineer yourself in the next 2 to 3 years. Because the pace at which it is going is so fast that you might have to change your vendor within like maybe 2 to 3 months time because the new vendor has actually got a feature which is way ahead in the market compared to your current existing vendor. So how do you get the flexibility is you need to have this framework what you're going to build future ready. How you're going to make it future ready is that's what cloud native. Cloud native, one of the key things is vendor agnostic, right? So one is vendor agnostic. Second thing is the way you actually fail faster, you fail more number of times and you recover faster. So these are the things what you will not get as part of the cloud ready. Again, DevOps, again, as I said, 2 years back when we started the DevOps journey, I think there were only 2 pillars. One is people say that it has to be customer centric, it has to be developers, has to be super productive. But that has changed significantly. And particularly we belong to fintech industry where all the regulatory, all your complaints, your auditors, they actually take half of your time into the security, right? That becomes your new pillar actually. And one of the other important is cultural change. Again, if you go back 2 years back into DevOps Enterprise Summit or anywhere, culture was to be done, but it's not a must at that time. But over last 2 years, people understood that culture is the first thing which has to change. And then you follow up with your developer-friendly approach, customer centricity, and security and compliance. This is exactly what the leadership has to believe, the developer has to believe, the program manager has to believe, the scrum master has to believe, the engineer has to believe, the support has to believe, and finally the security team has to believe in as well. And once you believe that these 4 pillars are going to work together, I think that's where you think. And this part, right, particularly as I said in the fintech industry, your compliance takes almost like 50 to 60% of the operations team work. It's more than that sometimes actually, because with the data being one of the key things in the market now, you got data compliance like you got NIST for US, you got GDPR for Europe, you got Australia Data Act for this one, and you got MES coming out with their own policies for Singapore, and India is actually building their own data act. Okay, so you need, and the beauty is that if you start thinking about security and compliance at the very first stage, design stage, I think that's where you'll be able to build this scalable, because once you have passed the design and planning stage, for you to make those changes in your architecture is actually mammoth, and it goes back to the same principle what Tapo was telling in the morning, that the reusability, if you don't have it, I think that's where you'll kill yourself actually. You start getting, some of these businesses, what we have seen is that because of the security, when they were refactoring it, they more or less have their products gone end of life, okay? So that's the impact what security can have, particularly in the fintech industry. This is a cloud native journey. I'll make it fast so that, let's see the time. Time? Yeah. So again, this is the starting one, which is your standard, where you actually bring your products onto cloud, and rationalized is where you start consolidating your services. Let's say you peel off your database, you peel off your storage, you peel off your load balancers of the sort, and then that's when you actually move into dynamic, which is more or less having all your blueprinting for the microservices and all of that. You actually know what are the microservices which are core for your products and start building that. And the maturity comes in where you will add the elasticity for your microservices, and you also provide this self-healing and auto-scaling for those things, right? So our journey, I think 2015 is where we started. It's not like one day journey, it's been like last 3 to 4 years. And as you go on, as you said, a lot of these compliances, ISO certification, or it could be SOC 2 certification, or it could be GDPR, you need to move it along as you progress, right? So 2018 is when we created our Intellect Fabric, which is our cloud native platform. So one of the other important principle of cloud native is that you need to bring in standardization. While you provide the flexibility to your engineers, developers to start using their own tools, there has to be some standardization, otherwise you will get into a messy state, really messy state, because of the version mismatch, because of different tools, because of dependencies on it. That's where I think somewhere you need to bring, if you're actually having an enterprise company, you need to bring that standardization of tools, which are very common tools like authentication, authorization, logging, it could be notification. These are standard tools which every developer needs it, which every product team needs it. If you can standardize that, you actually have reduced 30 to 40% of the productivity of that particular product team. So that's the benefit which you give it as part of cloud native. Cloud native clearly says that standardize those components which are reused, which are something which are common across all of your product lines or your customers. And what we have seen is that this has significantly changed our customer base, and the customers are loving it, that they don't need to really re-engineer themselves on this authentication, authorization, or notification of the sort. Again, you need to go cloud native. One is SOC 2. Some of the key things about these public cloud providers is that they provide a lot of that verification. When it comes to AWS, it's well architected review. The solution architects from AWS would actually review it both from a security, operations, performance, and cost. Okay, so it's not just one. They actually review all of it. They give you some metrics. You actually need to ensure that you actually align to those metrics. So in 2019 is when our product, Intellect Fabric, has been cloud native software conformance. So it's available right now on Kubernetes CNCF portal for download. It's a distribution software. And we're proud to say that we're the first CNCF Kubernetes distribution which has been uploaded onto the portal from CNCF. Again, these are the cloud native design, but I'll not go in detail. But again, this covers somewhere you need to start your journey mapping this principle at the start. So start your journey here. There will be more blocks which keeps adding. But these are some of the blocks where you need to say that this is my end state. My end state 3 years back is what this is. And this is what we have adapted, each of the blocks we have adapted as of 2019. So the most important thing is you need to start ticking each of those boxes in that journey. If you don't tick those boxes, that's where you will start having the failures and you'll start having the errors and all of that. Okay, Kubernetes has been one of our key metric which has helped us in this journey. It has actually moved us so fast in getting our infrastructure self-healing, in getting our auto-scaling, everything done. And the best part is it's cloud agnostic. You can actually take our distribution either to Azure or Google Cloud or AWS, or you can actually take it to your hybrid cloud as well. You can take your data center and start distributing it. And the beauty is that with this automation, we're able to pull it in 3 to 4 hours. You can actually build a platform plus product available to the customer. I think that's something nirvana state is what we call actually in our product journey. So getting your product out of the box with all the features configured, available to the customer in 3 to 4 hours is something which is actually the significant thing what Kubernetes is. Some of the stats, again, when we started in 2017 on the Kubernetes journey, I think there are like hardly 65%. But today, 9 out of 10 customers use Kubernetes for production loads. I mean, if you're trying to decide whether you want to go to Kubernetes, Mesosphere, or any other container orchestration, our recommendation is blindly go, because we have done n number of evaluations with multiple vendors, multiple partners, and this has come out really come out. So I think pre-2016 is when it started, and 2019, 21, this is where the early majority right now, most of the Kubernetes is there. And if you, some of the stats, the reason I kept it is that the founder of Kubernetes, when we contacted him, his prediction was that by 2020 or 22 is when I think he thought that the early majority would start. But the pace at which it is going is that by 21, he thinks that most of them will get into late majority. So that's one. I think what we'll do is we'll give a quick landscape of how we have mapped according to the cloud native reference architecture. So these are some of the challenges. I'll just hand it over to my team, so because they've been running, there some of the SMUs who have been doing it. Mohan, if you can come. Yeah.
Okay. Hi.
Good.
Basically, I mean.
Mohan, you can come.
Yeah. We are into cloud native journey for the last 2 years, and as part of that, right, actually we went through a lot of challenges. I can say actually these are the major challenges we came across, right? The very first one, actually, if you look at, the challenge is we have the credentials as part of the source control repositories, right? So we use, basically we use actually Helm charts for doing the deployments in the Kubernetes cluster, and those are maintained as part of the source control repositories, where actually we have all the secrets, credentials available as part of that. And because of that, right, actually there is a challenge like somebody can actually get into the source control, whoever has access to that repositories, get access to the servers and all that, right? And they can do some changes to the configuration or actually some data changes and all that, which will affect the application. So what we did was, as part of that, actually, the solution we provided is we implemented Vault as part of that, so that actually you can secure all your secrets as part of the Vault. That is one of the major challenge we faced. And the next one is the infrastructure provisioning, which is done manually very initially. Like so I mean it has a lot of issues like basically while provisioning the infrastructure, right? You may not consider some changes or something might get missed by where actually you come to know as part of your within the runtime and all that. So for that actually what we did was actually we like the solution we provided as part of that is infrastructure as a code. Actually we built, actually we use Ansible as well as Terraform for building the code. So what we do is actually we share the templates to developers so that actually there is no dependency with the ops team, right? So that is how actually we managed that one. And the next one is actually application availability, because we have the customers across the globe, right? So application availability is a very important aspect of your thing. So what we did was we have actually see the monitoring part, application availability. It's not only at the site level actually. It's not like you monitor your URL. So you need to monitor like certain things like say for example you want to do some application flow testing where actually you cover some flow within your application, so that actually you cover different features of your application. So what we did was actually we implemented synthetic monitor. That is one of the thing where actually it goes through the flow and checks and actually it submits a report kind of thing. That is one thing. And the another one is actually consistency across application performance, right? So basically you have a lot of services deployed in your environment. So the consistency with respect to performance is very important aspect. So what what we did was actually we implemented actually application performance tool, monitoring tool. So what it does is actually it provides a tracing on your services, so that actually developers has access to all those trace details, so that actually they can see and get into the code and actually fix the issues. So these are the four challenges we came across.
So the reason why we said these are major challenges is if you don't think of these things at the start of your DevOps or cloud native journey, you have to refactor, redo, re-engineer a lot. So some of the things like infrastructure as a code, unless you have this as your end objective, that infrastructure as code, you're going to provide these particular Terraform templates or infrastructure templates to the developers. I think the amount of rework you do in this journey is very high. So our recommendation again, because that's the hard way we have learned it. So what we tell you guys is that you should start thinking about infrastructure as a code at the start of your journey. So it will help you to reduce the impact. So we'll go with, because of the time. So I think this is the cloud native reference architecture. This is how the mapping of tools has been done. So the most important thing for each of this, you'll have at least 3 or 4 tools which have been evaluated at any point of time, and the tool can be replaced with no impact to application, with no impact to customer. So the most important feature of cloud native reference architecture is not having the tools on the table, stitching those tools, integrating that into your platform. So if you have that stitching and integration correctly done, that's where you'll get the real benefit about cloud native reference architecture. This reference architecture is what we continuously work with Cloud Native Computing Foundation. It keeps changing. Whenever it changes, we actually have a quarterly meeting with CNCF team for the Asia Pac, and they provide us the inputs. We provide our own inputs to them, so it gets updated. So we'll not go in detail each of those tools, you know it, but most importantly, what you need to pick is that this is a fluid reference architecture. It keeps changing. So be prepared. When you talk to your customers, when you talk to your product owners, they need to be having a clear understanding that this is not going to be a static page which would be coming or going for the next at least 6 months or 7 months. This changes almost every quarter. So the flexibility as a cloud native operations team, what you need to provide is that how easily you can replace those tools, how easily you can replace the frameworks. So having said that, I think we'll move on to this quick deployment. I'll have Ranjan quickly do. I think we're running short of time, so you guys need to do it fast.
Yeah, thank you, Mohan, for this. This is a complete architecture what we implemented in our Fabric, Fabric platform. So see, after developer, we made it complete automation for this. Okay, so like if you know about the CI, like continuous integration, and CD, what you are already getting to know from last 2 days. So we completed this implementation in our product. So first, after committing the code in Git, the developers, what they used to do, they they commit, and after that the Jenkins CI build has to be happened. Then in part of CI, what we are doing, we're building that image and pushing that image to Docker Hub. So in like after building that image, so like we are thinking that that image is a dev image. So how can we like push that image to all of the environments? So what we did, like we find out that one solution is with the Kubernetes. Kubernetes provides with the Helm support. So what we did, we implemented Helm for that. And for Helm, we have different like value MLs for it. So we just edited all those images, okay, and that image went into all of the environments. So you can see in that architecture diagram that devlu and QA staging production, all of the environments are having the same images. Okay, the coming to the next part, it's all about the security, right? Like whenever you are putting some of the credentials in GitHub, at that time the vulnerability starts, right? So what we are doing in that point of view, like we are implementing Vault for that. So Vault is a complete isolated cluster for us. So what we are doing on in that, we are implementing our secrets over there, and we are pushing all those credentials whatever we have in Git repo, right? Let's say we are using PostgreSQL, yeah, MySQL, yeah, so, some sort of databases, yeah, cache cache like Redis. So at that time, what we are doing, we are putting all those credentials into Vault, and we are managing that. I will be saying,
we'll
yeah,
skip the
yeah, I will
part.
be saying all those things in next slide.
No,
So yeah.
we'll go to the next one because time is essence.
Oh, okay. So this is a complete, yeah, complete architecture of what we are implementing in our product. So you can see that there are two like Vault and our like services what we have. We have implemented all those in like containerization in containerization architecture. We implemented all those. So yeah.
So I think what we'll do is, I mean, again, in the interest of time, I need to skip. There are lot of information that we want to share. So this is the CI/CD pipeline where you actually start including your NFR, which is your either it could be Sonar, it could be Twistlog. I think one of the key questions which was asked in the last meeting was that how do you actually integrate this in development? I think I just wanted to answer that question. How we have solved it is that all of the developers have been enriched with how they need to look at the security vulnerabilities. I think that's the training. That's a huge training activity which you have to take to tell the developers how they can read those vulnerabilities, how they can read those files and everything. So what we do is we empower them. All of this is automated. So the only thing what is manual is the developer commits. The commit is the only thing manual. All of the NFR happens automatically. He gets a report along with all of the vulnerabilities with the dashboard and everything. The same report goes to DevOps, security, as well as the product owner as well. And we have gates, which are automatic gates for each of the environment basing on the criticality and how the governance team has agreed. Those gates have automatically set. If those gates are not met, actually the code is being rejected, or the code is actually, or the image is being rejected, or the image is being deployed into the environment. So again, this takes time. This is not an easy job. I mean, it took us almost 1.5 years to get to this state that all of the developers understand this, all the product owners understand this, because you've got a constant pressure of business saying, forget about the gates, get this image, get this product out into the market. Pipeline, that's correct. You build it in the Jenkins pipeline, integrate with Slack, so you know the dashboard in the Slack, which what the status is. So some of the metrics will go very soon here. Again, move from responsive to proactive. Some of the things, if you see application performance, synthetic monitor we've done. In the previous sessions, we've seen that AOps is something which is happening. Trust me, AOps more or less all of us will be doing in one form or the other. So it's nothing new, it's a new word which has been coined, but how you actually do it efficiently using those AI is what matters. So again, one of the other thing which Tapo told in the morning, that have your end objective. What are the metrics for you as your own organization that you want to meet? There could be 100 odd metrics you want to achieve, but as an organization, these are the three things or four things what we thought. One is continuous delivery, which did the shift left approach, where we gave all the developers the opportunity to get their own deployments, get their own security and everything. I mean, when we started this journey, when we completed this in Feb 19, till date, we almost have actually achieved 25 man months of productivity. That's a huge saving for us. That's how you actually grow. Productivity, you give infrastructure templates. I mean, for now, we have actually on all of the non-prod environments, the developers have got the access to those infrastructure where they can provision their own databases, provision their own caches of sort, which improves us 3x times. Last one is reliability and resiliency. This is where the Kubernetes, beauty of Kubernetes comes in. It sits as an abstraction on top of AWS or Azure. In AWS, let's say for 4 months, we had close to 120 node transitions or failures. None of those transitions has actually caused an application outage to us. So that's where Kubernetes gives you that beauty. Cost optimization. I mean, I'll just spend quick 30 seconds here, because when you do a lot of these things, one of the key things what you understand is that the cost is going to significantly increase. But this is the anti-pattern. So the costs, the way the market is working is that even the costs are being actually continuously being optimized. And we have actually, when we started in 2016, when we went into managed services, we were able to get by 60% of cost reduction. And in 2017-18, when we went into Kubernetes, we got 38% of cost reduction. Again, we're actually adding new services, we're adding new functionalities, but the cost also has been going down. This is totally an anti-pattern of your traditional one. And in phase 3, right now, what we have done is we moved all our non-production onto spot instance. So this is where the AI is being used. In a spot instance platform, what happens is that if, AWS might actually bring down a spot instance and there will be interruption. There's an algorithm which is built by Spot Inst company, which is our vendor. It actually starts predicting where the spot instances are available across the globe, moves my workload automatically without impacting my application availability. Here we actually have got close to 80% reduction in costs in non-prod.
Sarath, you
Yeah.
need to really stop, because
Yeah.
we have the other
Done?
main track starting now.
Got it. So I think this is what we'll be going ahead with DevOps. I think I will be sharing these slides. I think NoOps is what will be going, wherein development and operations will not be interacting anymore. Everything is automated and everything. And one of the key things, what we wanted to leave you with the thought is that what would be the operations team be doing at that time? So the operations team would be actually having these alarms set up. They'll be doing the policing, and those are the tasks. What they'll be doing is that they will not be doing anything but doing a coding to figure out if there are any vulnerabilities, figuring out their investigations, alerting, and all of that. Okay. Having said that, I would just want to quickly say that I want to thank my team and probably call them on the stage before we go.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, big round of applause for the team here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's our tag.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
We got some gifts. I think the people who are completed, I think, will be giving the names. I
Yeah.
think.
Can we quickly get the names so we can get that?
Yeah, Vikram.
They are finishing their quiz first. Vikram?
Vikram, yep.
Yeah.
Vikram Dulam. Please.
He's
Give-
here.
Yeah,
You
yeah
can
we'll make
just
it fast.
read it.
Anurag.
You keep reading.
Shubha.
Let them come. You can continue reading. Let them.
Raghu.
We had Shubha and we have Raghu.
Amarnath.
Amarnath.
Krishnakant. Malini. Manjula. Nitesh.
Manjula.
Naveen. I think it's Vishal, I think.
Vishal.
Yeah. Saravanan. Kalyan. Vignesh. I hope I'm not reading it again, so please let me know. Anil. Kalash, and Muthu.
Yeah, I think Muthu is there.
Yeah.
There was one person who didn't come up, so I think you
Yeah.
can leave it. Maybe they have left the room.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
You need get to ask 2 questions.
Yeah. So the first question I can talk. I mean, what are the probably give me 2 differences between a cloud native and a cloud ready architecture.
The red T-shirt. Yeah.
Yep.
Containerization.
And you actually do the automated deployments in normal cloud ready also. Yeah. What
Yeah.
else? Anything
the person
better?
behind you. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's
Yeah.
good.
Please come over. And the second question.
The second question is, how do you improve developers' productivity? What are those 2 or 3 things you would do to improve your developers' productivity?
Yeah, Malini.
You train them,
Yep.
basically collaboration and training. That's
What else?
skill sets, right? Skill set.
Yeah. Better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's continuous feedback.
Yeah.
And second one is probably unit testing, more frequent unit testing.
Yep. What else?
I don't think Sharath is happy with that.
No, I think there's one thing because as
Yeah,
one of
there's
the,
one word I
as
think
part
is
of
there.
DevOps handbook, clearly they say what is that we need to do that extra
Yeah.
thing.
What is that?
Finally get into the no-ops mode so that developers get
No.
No.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Automation good.
Tools provide the environment like
So, sorry. So I'll just give it. Probably we can give it a malicious
yeah,
answer. But the
please.
answer is that you need, yeah. Right. But you need to empower the developers so they're self-sufficient.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said. Skill set.
Skill set.
Yeah.
That
So
skill
we
set.
can-
Yeah, that's
we
what I
would
said.
like you on the
training is
stage.
what you said, but
Yeah, right.
you need to empower that.
Come here. Your name? Vikram.
Vikram.
Yeah. Big round of applause for Vikram and Malini. A round of applause for Malini. And may I request Gary to come on the stage, please? The famous world leader in the Agile, to be facilitating Sarath for his time and effort in coming here to talk with us. Certificate. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
time
Thank
and
you.
your presentation. It was a wonderful job.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Gary, you will have to give this as well.
So I want to the team along with the team.
And a token of
Yeah,
our
can
appreciation.
you please, along with the team.
Yeah.
Come
You
this,
can
come this side.
My friend.
Thank you. Thanks for that.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you,
you.
Sarath and team. Thanks for this wonderful presentation.
job. You're doing
So we now move on to the main
Thank you.
track. We now move on to the main track, and the rest
Yeah.
of the sessions are all combined
You guys
sessions.
use
Yeah.
HashiCorp Vault.
Yeah.
You guys use the enterprise version or the open source version?
Currently we're using, sorry, complete.